I had another game for you. At this point, I'm 4-4 in the tournament. I still have a massive spread, and it's so early in the tournament. 31 rounds at the Nationals. Anything can happen, but I did just lose a pretty deflating game where it's just like, man, what can I do? What can I do? And I felt like there was nothing I could do the whole time. I really lucked out with my pairings this morning. There were so many, single-digit seeds around me, and I first get to play Peter Sargius, even though I dropped that one. And then I have Tom Bond here, and Tom's still a solid player, but in a field where there's Jackson Smiley and Joey Malik and Josh Sokol and Alex Seaholm, and I'm happy to have the matchup I have. So if I drop this one too, I'll be really upset with the way my day has started. There's my opening rack down at the bottom, Behlorw. The best play here is a word that I did not know, and that's Behowl. Behowl. 36 points seems pretty standard if you know the word. Unfortunately, I didn't. So I ended up playing Howler for 32 instead, and I've got Harry Potter playing in my head now with the scarlet red letter screaming at Ron Weasley in his mother's voice. But that scene unfolding in my head maybe was a little too distracting, because I think even if you get rid of Behowl, and Behowl is clearly the play if you know the word, I think Elbow is a better play than Howler. Even though Howler scores 4 more points, the B is not a good tile. The H is fine, and the R is pretty solid. So, you're actually okay giving up those points. Quackle's seeming them pretty close to each other right now, but I ran this earlier, and Elbow did seem a little better, and hindsight says, yeah, of course I'd play Elbow if I could. So, Howler's what I did. Howler's not what I like. Behowl's choice numbers 1, 2, 3, and maybe even 4. And then I'd rather play Elbow than do this, but Howler's all I could think of over the board. Maybe I'm blind because of last game or something. Tom spends a very long time here. I actually remember looking at his clock and seeing it tick down from 1900 to 1859 as he picked up his tiles to make this play. I remember thinking about the commentary I was going to do on that turn as I saw that. So finally he plays MIR for 15. So Tom is bingo prone. Maybe he's holding like an N and an S, and he's looking for 8s through each of those floating letters. Maybe he's got a blank as well. I'm not sure. I feel like with MIR, if you've got a blank, you're going to bingo a lot with those floaters, but it's possible. MIR is what comes down, and I'm put in a really tough situation here. This is one of the trickiest turns I felt like I saw all tournament. ABELNOO. Obviously Tom is fishing. Obviously Tom's fairly bingo prone. How often does he have an S? I'm not totally sure, but Howler's is a big spot for bingos to come down. And then the front hooks to mirror. It takes the front A and the front E. So those are pretty big as well. And then a floating E dramatically increases the odds that an opponent's going to be able to bingo next turn. So, if Tom's more than likely going to bingo, which I think is the case after mirror for 15 with 6 minutes of time spent, what do I want to do about that? So I considered a lot of options here. I spent a very long time on this turn as well. You never want to play oboe when your opponent's bingo prone. I did think about bone, but then I do allow S bingos to go down here for a lot of points. And it's just not quite as defensive as I want to be. Plus ALO is like a disgusting lead. So I decided to throw out a bone. I did consider a boon here, but I feel like the times Tom doesn't bingo, he ends up picking up like a 4-point tile, like a W or an H or a Y, and a boon gives up big plays to those. So I don't want Tom to be able to ding for 30 and then bingo next turn. I don't want to make things easy for him. I probably overthought this. A boon is terrible up here. You never make that play. Bowel seemed pretty sick to me, though, because it knocks out the A and the E in front of mirror because you turned it into Meyer. It did deal with the floating L, but it didn't address the E or the R as floaters, and it still left Howlers available. Beano kind of has the same drawbacks as a boon down here, where if he misses his bingo, he's going to crush me for 30 and fish next turn, and I just don't like allowing that. I considered Aloe over here as well, but the Amir and Emir hooks just seems too important right now, and I really felt like I wanted to do something about them. So ultimately, I decided to play Bowel, and I think this is an example of me being way too cute. And one of the things I'm noticing as I post-mortem this tournament is I seem to do almost everything in my power to limit my opponent's score next turn. You can see after Bowel, Tom scores only 34, 35 points per turn, whereas, you know, some of those other plays are giving up 42 or 40. And obviously I could modify this a little bit. You know, I could try and use Quackle and specify my partial opponent rack, you know, if I think he's got like ARNS or something like that. You know, I could put that in and give him more realistic a range, but I'm not totally confident what his range is, so I don't want to skew my results too much. Again, Oboe is not a play we're going to make when he's fishing, but Bone, you know, it seems like maybe the thing to do after all. ALO is not a great leave, but it takes away stacking opportunities for him. It still really makes Mir go away quite a bit. And I think the biggest thing here is that I'm not going to be scoring a lot of points after Bowel. You can see down there in the sim results, I'm only scoring about 36 per turn after Bowel, where those other plays end up giving me quite a bit more. So I'm thinking too much about how do I stop Tom from scoring, and not enough about how I stop myself, or how I allow myself to score next turn. So with the gift of hindsight, I'd like to play Bone here. There are certain instances where you can get burned on Bone, but then so are there instances where you can get burned on Bowel. Tom plays Serranos very quickly. One other thing that happened is I spent forever looking at plays this turn, trying to figure out the best thing to do to counter his bingo. And after about 5 or 6 minutes of thinking, Tom noticed that his clock was still running. And I felt really bad about that. It was absolutely by no means intentional. I try to play very, very honest Scrabble, even in instances where the rules say I'm allowed to do X. Sometimes I won't because I feel like they're unethical. You can go back to the 2018 Nationals and look at my annotated game against Matt Graham for an instance of me doing that in a high-stakes tournament. I really, truly do like to play ethically, and I felt super bad that I ended up milking 6 minutes of Tom's clock. I did not realize it was running, but that's the thing that's going to come into play several times the rest of this game is Tom does not have a lot of time. He's down to 13 minutes after just 2 moves. So Serranos came down pretty quickly, and there's not a lot you do with ANORRSS except bingo, if you can bingo. This is one of my favorite plays of the entire tournament that I'm about to make. Let's see, Bowel held ANOADEENOY was my rack. I forgot to write that one down, but I'm able to remember it. So if you want to pause and try and find something cool here, go for it. Good luck. If you haven't paused or if you're already back from the pause, I'll show you what I did. That's Yodeler right here for 33. You know, I think a lot of people would just drop AYE pretty quickly, and that's fine, but like I was super happy that I saw this play. It just helped me get out of this rack very quickly and score 33 at the same time, and it was, you know, a cool little disconnected overlap type thing, so I enjoyed that. Fun fact, if you didn't know this, you can also spell yodel, Y-O-D-L-E, and you can be a yodeler like a 6, or you can be a yodeler like a 7. So that's a fun thing. Yodeler is what I decided to do, and Tom comes down with Macing. And very quickly, you can see that this board's starting to get fun. At least I think these are fun. Some people think they're terrible, but we've got this S-hook on Howlers, we've got this bingo line in the in lane, and we've got nothing else to do on this board. And I love games that come down to this. I think they're fun. I draw into A, D, H, J, L, M, N. And I'm going to make a pretty serious mistake here. It's just strictly a word knowledge mistake. I ended up playing NAH just right there. But if you know the 4 DHAL, that's what you want to play. And I got confused here because I know DAHL, but then I thought DHAL was a word, but for some reason I had just never studied that like both of those 4s are alternate spellings of each other. You know, it's really hard to remember the stuff like bot, right? B-A-H-T. It's like, where does that H go in that word? Or Mendes, M-E-H-N-D-I-S, another one of those. Like, where does the H go in this word? But in Dahl, the H can go in either place where it makes logical sense. D-A-H-L, D-H-A-L. And I end up, you know, screwing up this turn pretty badly because of it. Oh well, so it goes. We all make mistakes. I make them more than I should if I want to pretend like I'm good at this game. Tom comes down. Oh, that's not what he plays. He plays YIN right there for 22. So MAY takes a bunch of back hooks. It takes the A, the O, and the S, and I'm kind of concerned he's setting one up. But unfortunately, there's literally nothing I can do. So I pick up DLNTUWJ. Great. Hooray. If you're going to have a junk rack like this, you want to have it on a board shaped like this as well. Because your opponent, unless they have the maze hook or Maya or Mayo or something, your opponent's not doing a whole bunch either. So I was able to exchange this turn and feel okay about it. And standard Scrabble says, why don't you keep NT? Those are the best tiles in your league. But on a board like this, where the S hook on Howler is so important, I said, you know what, forget it. I'm going to go ahead and exchange 6 instead of 5, just to try and draw an additional, to have an additional chance to draw a hook to Howler, or maybe even a hook over here. And maybe even you might want to consider exchanging 7. I don't think that's quite warranted here, especially because the pool's looking kind of junky, skewed towards the vowels. So I decided to hold 1 consonant, but not 2, and I believe the consonant I decided to hold was an N, because there were 5 T's unseen, and I don't want to double up T's, so I kept an N. What is Tom going to do here? Tom is also going to exchange. And I don't know what exactly he changed, but he threw back 6. And I pick up AAEFNST. So there's some fun 8s you can make with that rack. Actually, there's 1. It's fantasy. But, there's no bingos going on this board unless it's a 7 with howlers. So really the 2 best things you can do here are play fetas or play feta. Traditionally, they say an S is worth about 9 points. But on this board, an S is worth a lot more than 9 points. There's only 1 left, and howlers is just sitting there. So there's absolutely no way I'm going to get rid of my S for 10 right now. So beta comes down for 34, and I keep the S, and I'm feeling pretty good about my chances in this game. Tom drops SEZ, and ADIJNST is my pull. So I'm able to make a pretty sweet play here. I don't really want to burn the S right now. There's only 1 left, so there's a good chance that spot is going to stay mine. And Taj is a really sweet play over here because of my lead. I'm holding DINS. If I pick up any one of the remaining 6 E's, I hit Tajin's next turn. Or I'll bingo a lot of the time too if I pick up an E. But it's just a nice way to stay dynamic. I've got 45 points over here. I still have good bingo possibilities, and I've got the howlers hook. So I was really happy to make Taj here. And with Tom's clock ticking down, 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 I'm happy to make this game go into an end game because there's a good chance he's going to make a mistake because he's so low on time, even though it was kind of unfortunate that he ended up there. You got to take advantage of the situations that you're put in, though. So Taj comes down, and then this was a weird turn because Tom initially, I believe he put down rectal here for 13 points, and then he picked it up and set down sec. I'm pretty sure the word was rectal, but I am very sure it was a word like that held a T. He flashed a T for sure. Maybe the word was recant, but it was some kind of 6 like that with bingo-prone stuff. And he ended up playing sec. And I know now that Tom has the T for sect, and that's dangerous for me. A DINS did not really work out super well for me. I picked up another I and another N. So, yay. And I did not pick up the E I needed for Tajin's. So, couldn't really decide what to do here for a while. I did not see this play. Even if I did see this play, I'm not sure that's the one I want to make. I don't know how desperate I am to disrupt sect right now. I feel like Tom would have spent a lot more time on the last turn if he had rectal and a blank in there. Excuse me, I feel like he would have been fishing for a bingo or looking for a bingo or something. So I think he's holding ALT and God knows what else. I don't think his bingo chances are incredibly high right now. Definitely above average, but I decided finally, you know what, if he's going to hit sect, he's going to hit sect. That's fine. I'll drop Ion over here. I'll hold DINS a second time. I've still got Tajin's possibilities available if the sect play does end up hurting kind of bad. I feel okay after this. So Ion comes down. And Tom plays Tut for 12. My turn again, Deiknos. There is actually a 7 in this rack, and I was kind of sad that he blocked it. If you want to pause and look for it, you can. It's a toughie. The word is doeskin, and that no longer plays, and that makes me kind of sad. Doeskin actually does bingo with the T as well. There's kendoist to the T, but the T's not in the right spot for me, so not able to bingo this turn, but that's fine. Tut gives me SK plays down from it, and Skied is probably the best thing I can do here. It scores 49. So I'd rather just go ahead and do this than play Tajin's. The K's not really doing anything for me on this board. So let's just play Skied. I really hope he doesn't bingo to that D, but if not, I'm in a very big overdog situation right now. Time starts getting to Tom, and he just drops Ronnie right here for 10. I'm sure he wishes he could take that back, but yeah, when you get low on time, like there's not much you can do. Like you just have to go and do the first thing you see sometimes. And then this is just the draw of the century. I kept NO, and I picked a UVW in that order, and then E blank. And so that went from like, oh God, to like, oh God. And unavowed falls down for 104. And now the game's over. It was just insane luck on my end. Like, how does that even happen? How do I get a 104-point bingo with the UVW? Like, Scrabble's not fair sometimes. But I'm not going to complain when I'm gifted something like that. Oh yeah, Tom drops Crew B. No, that's Crew B right here for 22. I pull into A, I, U, V after my bingo. Of course, nobody who is a decent person will complain about drawing A, I, U, V after bingoing for 104 with the blank. I've seen people do it, and I want to smack them in the face. But the game's pretty easy at this point. I guess I could, get greedy and try and, bingo again or something like that. But I decide, whatever, let's just play defense. Let's drop the V right there and end this game. So that's exactly what I did. Just drop Vara. That gives Tom Lax for 38. He counted it as 40, huh? No. I guess we're going to have the wrong score here. I pull AIIOSTU. I do see the Q in the unseen pool, and I don't see a lot of vowels unseen, so I made a weird looking play here. I dropped just OBI. It gave me a bunch of different things. I have the only A left in the pool, so I have obia. I hold the U to go with the Q, and I'm holding 3 vowels into 2 consonants, which is what I want to do when the unseen pool looks like this. So OB looks super weird, but I'm happy with the play I made. OB comes down. He plays OF for 25 right up here at the top. I'm kind of mad at myself about this because I do pick up the Q, which I was kind of anticipating, but I also picked up all this stuff, and I would actually bingo from the E if I hadn't blocked it with OB. I would have Equiseta. But alas, you can't win them all, and I just dropped equates here. Maybe I get greedy and try and bingo one more time or something like that, but whatever, let's just do it. Equates comes down, 42 points, and the rest of this game is just kind of whatever. He plays Peg here for 22, and he has EGGLPP blank, or something like that. I'm just gonna kill the video here because this is just a silly end game that nobody cares about. But that's how this game went down, and I feel kind of scummy about the clock thing, even though I didn't do anything malicious, and I feel really scummy about drawing unavowed for 104. I wish I could do some things differently. Behowl was something I wish I knew. Bowl, I thought I was being smart, but I was actually being dumb. And then, God, I can't believe I didn't see Dowl at the top. But other than that, I like the way I played this game, and of course, I like the way I drew with stuff like unavowed. So, up to 5-4 now. I've won more games than I've lost, and we got a lot of time yet to go. All right, thanks for watching, guys.